Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Hammaker with the Innovation Transfer Network, and I have Dr. Sairam with me of Penn State Harrisburg, and Dr. Sairam is somewhat of a rock star, so I hear, with Penn State Harrisburg. So let's see, first of all, can you tell me what your areas of expertise are and the areas that you work in at Penn State Harrisburg?
So Jennifer, thank you for having me here at the ITN event. As always, it's wonderful, it's a pleasure to be here. The research focus at Penn State is majorly in 4 different areas. One of the area that we're focusing on is biofuels. This is the major focus. We are also focusing on plant-derived vaccines, and I just came back from a trip touring Canada and a couple of other growers, the vegetable and seed growers up in Canada. So we are going to work on tomato, and we are also going to work on some other important vegetable crops for cold tolerance primarily. That's one of the stress focus. And the last area is phytoremediation, which is heavy metal uptake from soil. So these are the 4 areas that keep us busy.
Okay. Yeah. And so you're talking about biofuels and plants and genetic farming. I know you've used that term before. Can you talk about what that means? I know you're working toward a sort of a higher goal of, helping to feed the world. Can you share how your work impacts that?
Yeah. So the mission for my research program and the whole group is we are working on 2 major national security issues. One is the food scarcity. There is hunger, there is starvation, there's malnutrition, there's 800,000 children dying on a daily basis with lack of food. So one of the major projects is improving the yields in crops like corn, soybean, able to grow the crops multiple times a year, for which we want to enhance some input traits into the plants. So for example, increase the abiotic stress tolerance, which is cold, drought, salinity. Also try and increase some other tolerance to pests and diseases so we can get more crops.
So what you're saying is if a plant right now, for instance, only blooms or flowers once a year, you're trying to make the changes so that it can flower multiple times, therefore multiple crops in a year, more food, and hopefully feeding more people.
More people, that's exactly right. And the other major area that we are focusing is also of national security interest, which is biofuels, because we need to reduce our dependence on importing oil. So in order to reduce the dependence, we have a DOE mandate that says that by 2030 we have to cut the dependence by 15 to 20% minimally. So if we can accomplish that much, I think that's a wonderful thing. So these are the 2 areas that are connected with plants. So we use non-food crops, so we don't go into the food crop area. All the crops we work with are non-food crops. We don't want to use agricultural lands. We want to use lands that cannot be used for anything, or lands that are not suitable or not being currently used. And there's plenty of it in Pennsylvania region. So that's the land that we want to use to grow our crops on. So towards that we are working with switchgrass, miscanthus. We also have 2 biodiesel crops, camelina and jatropha, but we're not really tied up with a crop. We are more interested in developing different technologies towards the major mission, which is reducing the dependence on oil.
And I'm guessing that there's a lot of companies who are interested in tapping into what you're doing, and I know that you've had a lot of corporate experience before coming to Penn State Harrisburg, but you've kept up those connections and made others. Can you share some examples of companies that you're working with and a little bit about the relationship with those companies?
Yeah, so we are working with a number of companies. So for example, some of the local companies that we are involved, that we are working with is Keystone Biofuels, Kunj Biotech LLC. These are some of the newer companies coming up in the region. We're also working with a major company up in Meadville, Pennsylvania, that is interested in the biomass, increasing biomass, which is with switchgrass and other native perennial grasses. This company is Ernst Conservation Seeds. They have been very generous in supporting our research program at Penn State Harrisburg. We are going to start some new relationships, and one of the new relationship is with Advanced Feedstocks. This is a company up in Canada, and I was just fascinated this weekend looking at their miscanthus, their switchgrass, and other programs. So they're also involved in, they have 32 acres of greenhouse under cover with vegetable production, so tomatoes and everything. So that's where our new projects are emerging out of. So these are some of the companies, and we're also working with some of the corporate companies who are interested and who have licensed some of our technologies. And so those are the big corporate 5 companies that we have active interest with. My background is I worked with Bayer Crop Science as a head of wheat biotech program back in 2000, so 99, 2000.
So you have companies who are licensing your technology, is that correct? And you also have several patents as well? But
several patents. We have some patents that are that have been issued already, and we have complete access to that technology. And we are also filing. We've just filed a few provisional patent applications just this year. So we made some more invention disclosures. So this is a continuous process. So I have a very active research team that is involved with this. So.